The Babe led the Bombers to their first World Championship in 1923.
Strike three, a no-hitter, a perfect game for John Lawson.
He got this in his third home run of the game.
Hayes makes the catch. The Yankees win.
The Yankees are back on top. World champions for the 27th time.
1996 was a long time coming for Yankee fans. They hadn't been to the World Series in 15 years, hadn't won in 18 years.
Going into that spring, that was our goal, was to win, a championship.
When I got there, it was all about winning.
I thought it was the turning point in terms of the atmosphere of the city changing.
Back in 96, I don't think anybody could have envisioned what ended up happening there.
Joe Torre took over as manager of the New York Yankees in 1996 and steered his team to the top of the AL East. 5 players hit over 300. First-year Yankee Tino Martinez hit 25 home runs and paced the offense with 117 RBI. Rookie shortstop Derek Jeter led all first-year players in hits, runs, RBI, batting average, and OPS as he took home American League Rookie of the Year honors. In just his second season, Andy Pettitte, at age 24, pitched like an ace. He was the only Yankees hurler to toss over 200 innings, as he went on to post 21 wins, the most in the American League. Mariano Rivera stormed onto the scene, appearing in over 100 innings while leading the Yankees with a 2.09 ERA. Closer John Wetland recorded 43 saves, the most in the AL. The Yankees would enter the World Series as a heavy underdog against the defending world champions, the Atlanta Braves. The Braves boasted the best pitching staff in baseball: John Smoltz, Greg Maddux, and Tom Glavine. John Smoltz, the 1996 NL Cy Young Award winner, took the hill in Game 1 at Yankee Stadium against Andy Pettitte and would completely dominate the Yankees. Smoltz tossed 6 innings of 2-hit ball as the Braves offense drilled Pettitte for 7 runs, knocking him out of the game in the 3rd inning. The Braves coasted to a 12-1 victory, dropping the Yankees in an early 0-1 hole. In Game 2, the Yankees didn't have to face Smoltz, but instead went head-to-head with future Hall of Famer Greg Maddux. The Mad Dog pitched brilliantly for 8 innings, holding the Yankees scoreless on just 6 hits. The Yankees left New York and headed south, down 0-2 in the series.
We had our clocks cleaned for 2 straight home games in New York by Atlanta. You couldn't have as worse a showing as we had in New York in Game 1 and 2.
They lost the first 2 games at Yankee Stadium by a combined score of 16-1. Some of us covering the series began to think back 20 years earlier to 1976, when the Yankees got to the series, ending a 12-year drought, and they ended up getting swept. I myself began to think this might happen to the 96 Yankees.
A lot of people thought the Braves maybe had already won this World Series, and Joe Torre, who was a calm manager, told George Steinbrenner exactly what he felt was going to happen.
And he told him, he said, look, Atlanta's my town. I used to play there, I used to manage there. We're going to go down there, we're going to win 3 games and come right back here to New York and win this World Series.
Well, he told the boss one thing, and he told us another thing. When he talked to us, he said, let's just go to Atlanta and win 1 game.
Everybody on the ball club had a great deal of confidence that we could, turn it around. And
it's like nothing happened. We knew we were going to do something special there.
The attitude towards, going out there, it was not like we had lost anything. It was still a positive attitude.
We knew if we just won 1 game, we can build momentum from there. So, we had a lot of confidence.
That confidence began with Yankees starting pitcher David Cone.
Cone was one of the unbelievable stories of that 96 team, because after the aneurysm, there was no telling whether or not he would ever come back and pitch that season, if he would ever come back and pitch again.
I didn't know if my career was over when I had an aneurysm and then had the surgery to repair the aneurysm. So, to be able to come back at the end of that year and find myself on the mound in Game 3 in 96 just was a tremendous feeling.
Yeah, Coney, he came out there and he just, pitched lights out.
Well, David was one of those guys that you want to have the ball in a big game, and that certainly was a big game.
After the aneurysm and that whole season, that coming through all those different adversities, it was a hell of a game.
That was David Cone at his best.
Cone left the game after 6 strong innings with the Yankees narrowly ahead 2-1. And then in the 8th inning, Bernie Williams stepped to the plate with a runner on.
Down the line and right. Goodbye. 4-1 New York here in the 8th.
That was huge. Bernie came up big. Bernie had a way of rising to the occasion in postseason and getting big home runs and big hits. And when he got that home run, that got us back in the series, and we felt like, hey, we're going to have a fighting chance.
John Wetland closed the game out with a perfect 9th inning as the Yankees won 5-2 and pulled within 1 game of the Braves. The Braves would jump out to a huge lead early in Game 4 with the help of a solo home run from Fred McGriff and a 2-run double from Marquise Grissom.
They were down 6-0 in this game, scored 3 runs.
Into right field, it gets past Don. Here comes Jeter, he'll score. Headed at third is Bernie Williams. They bring him around. Williams is safe.
We started clawing back and got to 6-3.
And in the top of the 8th, with runners on the corners, Jim Leyritz stepped up to the plate for his first at-bat of the day.
Big swing.
Mark Wohlers threw the ball about 100 miles an hour. For some reason, in this pressure spot, he decided to throw Jim Leyritz a slider.
In the air to left field. Back at the track, at the wall, we are tied.
Well, it's a little obvious to say it changed the momentum of the entire series. The Braves are pretty much on the verge there of taking a 3-1 lead.
If the tide hadn't already changed in the way Cone pitched in Game 3, it definitely changed after Leyritz's home run in Game 4.
And we were ecstatic over there on the bench after he hit the home run. But then again, we knew we still had a little time before we could celebrate.
The game entered the top of the 10th still tied at 6. With a walk to Bernie Williams, the bases were loaded.
Wade Boggs came out of the dugout to pinch hit for Andy Fox. Steve Avery was the pitcher for the Braves. And I remember saying to the writer next to me, Steve Avery is not going to get 3 strikes past Wade Boggs.
One of the magical at-bats that I had throughout the course of my history, and on a 3-2, bases loaded walk, gave us the lead eventually for us to capture Game 4.
The Yankees went on to win Game 4 by a final of 8-6. Graham Lloyd would record the win as the Bronx Bombers tied the series at 2 games apiece.
Well, Andy was always the type of pitcher that if he had a bad game, you looked forward to his next start because he was really going to throw it all out there and usually pitch a very strong game.
It's one of the best pitch games I've ever been a part of in postseason. Andy Pettitte was unbelievable. That game turned on every single pitch.
Andy had to be that good because John Smoltz was that good. And one of the great pitcher's duels of all time, I think, in World Series history. Andy Pettitte matching him 0 for 0.
You want more poise? 1-4-3. Inning over.
It wasn't really John Smoltz that blinked. It was kind of a fly ball that got misplayed in right center field that allowed us to score the only run of that game.
Grissom back to get it. Drops it. Hayes will end up at second. Fielder down the left field line. It's fair. Up against the wall. In to score is Hayes. And the Yankees take a 1-0 4th inning lead.
The game would head to the bottom of the 9th with the Yankees leading the Braves 1-0.
And Paul O'Neill is a very good outfielder, but he was limited in that series because of an injury. And off the bat, you weren't sure that he was going to get to this ball.
1 or 2 pitches before, Jose Cardinal had moved me, he was the outfield coach, had moved me deeper into the right field gap, which made that play possible.
Into right field. O'Neill is there. Ball game. Yankees win 1-0 as Wetland saves it for Andy Pettitte.
A pitcher's duel for the ages ended with Andy Pettitte and the Yankees on top.
And I know the feeling in that Atlanta clubhouse after we beat them 3 straight games in Atlanta, that their mindset, oh no, we've got to go back to New York.
Came back to New York and, Yankees hadn't won a World Series in a long time, so there was so much excitement and we had a chance to win it at home. Game 6, which we wanted to do, we didn't want to get to a Game 7, and up into that point, That was as loud as I'd heard Yankee Stadium.
A full house at the stadium. Maddox deals to Girardi. Swung on and driven to center field deep. That's going to get the run in, might be more. Grissom back, still back. It's over his head and up against the wall. O'Neill scores. Girardi round second. He'll go to third. The throw is late. He slides. Triple. Yankees lead 1-0 on the RBI triple by Joe Girardi.
The atmosphere was electric. The stadium shook.
It was one of those times where at the old Yankee Stadium, the press box actually shook. But that triple that Girardi hit has to be a career moment for him.
Now, I thought Joe Torre was actually going to give me the safety squeeze. It was something I think I did 12 or 13 times during the course of the season just to get a rally going, just to get a run in, because I believe a lot of times the hardest run to score is the first run. And he let me swing away, and Greg Maddox threw me a pitch that I could handle, and I hit a triple, and it's that one moment of time in my career I wish I could go back. I'm not a person that really thinks about the past much, but if I could go back to one moment in my career, that would be it.
Yankees starter Jimmy Key would go 5 1/3, giving up just 1 run. Joe Torre would turn to his bullpen, which held a 3-2 lead in the 9th inning with 2 outs.
We all sat there on the bench waiting for that final out, and when Charlie Hayes, brought down that pop fly over near the left field stands, it run chills up my back.
The stretch and pitch. Swung on and popped up again off third. Hayes has room. Hayes makes the catch. Yankees win. The Yankees win. The New York Yankees have won the 1996 World Series.
But when we see the pop-up, it's just like, Jeter wants to catch you, I want to catch you, but Charlie's take care of you, and it was very special.
Whenever Charlie Hayes caught that ball and we were all able to go out there and a little dog pile on the pitcher's mound, that was one of my coolest memories as a New York Yankee.
The Yankees had defeated the Braves for a 4-2 series victory, winning the 23rd World Series title in franchise history.
The fans were so gracious, stayed in front of their seats clapping, so we decided to take a victory lap. And coincidentally, I was in center field on the back of a horse, and till this day, I really don't know how I got on the back of this police horse, but it was a very special moment for me to ride around Yankee Stadium on a horse, believe me.
I was the assistant GM at that point. Saw a lot. We went through a team that almost lost 100 games one season, and then all of a sudden to be the best team in baseball in '96, it was something that I never thought I could see happen. And
the fans were so into it, so hungry for a World Series championship. It had been 18 years, I believe, since the late 70s, since the Yankees had won a World Series.
I mean, you dream as a kid, every youngster's dream is to get to the major leagues. Once you get there, you visualize yourself playing in a World Series and winning a World Series, and to do all of that my first year, I mean, couldn't have written a better script.
This city was bonkers, and it was really cool. I mean, you walk everywhere and anywhere, everybody was just so ecstatic and happy, and it was amazing.
Cecil Fielder led the Yankees in the World Series with a .391 batting average, while center fielder Bernie Williams paced the club with 4 RBI.
No, John Wetland, when we got him from Montreal and had him for those 2 years, he was an amazing player.
Well, John was really a professional closer. He had done that for quite some time.
He was a powerful presence, that's for sure. Everything he did, he was all out. There was nothing left in the tank. And to get 4 saves in the World Series, I think it was the first time ever done. To win the MVP, it was so well deserved.
No one knew at the time when they made that turnaround they weren't going to lose another World Series game until like the 3rd game in 2000.